Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Social Media Decoded podcast, the number one podcast to help you understand social media better so that you grow your business, get more clients, and monetize. And today, we're talking all about how to turn your content into cash with my girl Carla, and I'm so excited to get into the chat. Before we got on here, we were in the pre-show and we were just talking, and I'm like, we got to record this because it's going to be some good conversation. So welcome, Carla, to the Social Media Decoded podcast. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
What's going on, Michelle? Thank you so much. You know, I'm all things Michelle things. So, honey, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes, and we were just talking before the show that Carla came to the CEO Summit, and that is how we met. So you can collab with anyone. It doesn't matter, right? You may go to a summit and you want to collab with that summit host. You can totally do it. Look, this is where we are today. So I'm so excited to get into this conversation. So could you introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about your background and your business, because I love what you do and I think it is very needed, okay, for entrepreneurs.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, hey, everybody, what's going on? I'm Carla R Cannon-Lawrence, the Trailblazer, and I am the CEO of Trailblazers University, where I help women get unlocked, unleashed, and activated into purpose without burning out in the process. And then I also am a writing coach and publisher. A second company I have, Cannon Publishing, where we teach you how to package your brilliance to bankroll your business by writing a book. So I teach a 7-day book writing process. And so a little bit about my background, there is so much. Like as far as I'll focus on what ignited my entrepreneurial journey. And for me, it was pain. It was a turbulent childhood, very dysfunctional, very childhood traumas, teenage pregnancy, just all of those things. So in my sufferings, I found peace in encouraging other people. And so my journey, I started out with a newsletter. It evolved into a magazine. We ended up covering media for Bishop Jakes in 2014 at Woman Thou Art Lose. And then from there, my coaching, my books, all of these things just begin to take off. And so I never thought I would be a full-time entrepreneur, even though my mom has been doing it for over 20 years, but I didn't want that for me, okay? Because I saw her starting out selling her car and all those things. So I'm an advocate for authentic sisterhood. So I just love helping women win because I know what it feels like to feel alone, lost, isolated, ostracized, and even second guessing yourself due to your background and limiting beliefs. So that's in a nutshell a little bit about me without going too far in.
Ooh. No, I love that. I love that. And I love that your mom was an entrepreneur. I didn't
Oh,
have
yeah.
any entrepreneurs in my life. And why is it that like you felt like, oh, this isn't for me. I just want to go there for a second. Why did
I
you feel
guess,
like after
and
seeing your mom?
yeah, for one, I like people, but I ain't like people, so my mom, so I like people, but I ain't like, because I come up from very religious background, so it would be the ones that I love Jesus that was just the nastiest that would come in the store and trying to return stuff they don't want, and my mom would be so nice, and I'm like, Mom, how you do this, so I just never saw it for myself because most of my life I didn't feel like prior to 20, because I've only been doing all of this the last decade, like 12 years, right? So 10 plus 2. And so for me, I didn't really think I had talents. Like I have a corporate background. I worked in corporate America. And I was miserable, hated it, but didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I could speak. I knew I could talk. I could talk and I could write. So it made sense. Like, wow, okay, I'm a coach, I'm a writer, and then writing coach. So yeah, but I didn't think it was for me because I liked people, but I ain't like people like that, you know.
I get what you're saying. Now I love people because y'all listening. Y'all know I love y'all. I love you. But I do get what you're saying. I do come from corporate America, so I know like the back talking and all of that. Like who's what?
Yeah,
Especially
but
in
but
healthcare.
and that
So
was then. But it was just I just saw how much my mom went through. Now, don't get it wrong, it was beautiful. I watch her still. Like, I don't know about Chicago. Y'all have flea markets. Like my mom started in the
oh
flea
yeah, we got the
market.
flea
Okay,
market.
yeah. So we used to have the whole flea market on. Like it was beautiful, but I saw every part of that process, and I just wasn't like, oh, I want that. I was like, nah, I help you, mom, but none of us. She's trying to figure out who she was gonna leave a legacy to, and none of us wanted it. But of course, as we got older, now all of us are entrepreneurs. Me, my daughter, my mom, my wife, my sister, my niece, my little cousin. All of us are entrepreneurs now, all due to my mom. The very thing I didn't think I wanted got a hold of me.
I love that. And it's so many people listening who may be wanting to step into that entrepreneurship. So thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. And I want to pivot this to, this is how we can turn our content into cash. Now, you said you thought about, look, I can speak, I can write, I can help somebody write a book. So anyone listening who is thinking about, how do I even make money from what I do? We are about to break it down for you, okay? How
Mhm,
we turn content into cash. And content can be so many things, like this podcast, a blog post, content on social media.
mhm,
All of that is content, and you can be paid for all of that, okay? So I want to talk about some tips that can give women the confidence to just say, to go for it, because you help with that too, right? Like, how do
mhm,
we just say, okay, this is what I'm passionate about and this is what I'm going to put out, and then how do we be intentional to drive income with our content? So number one, how do we even decide on what it is that we want to do? Like, should it light us up inside? Like, I know you
mhm.
said you knew that you could write, you knew that you could speak, and then how do we end up turning that into cash? Like, how do we turn our content and our passions into cash?
Yeah, I definitely believe it's about what ignites your fire. You know what I'm saying? And so, as far as developing that content or the courage, rather, to put it out there, understand that you are the solution to someone's problem. Somebody somewhere is looking for you, but if you're not showing up, or you're doubting yourself, or believing that you don't have a message, or your message doesn't matter, then you are doing yourself and others a disservice by not believing in ourselves. I believe that we as women, we have got to. I use, when I had hair, okay, I would say put your boss bundles on, honey, or your boss hat. Like, we gotta boss it up every day. However, at the same time, how we can build that confidence is by doing our inner work. So you're listening to someone who had the childhood traumas, who was told I would never amount to anything, was a teenage mom, and all of those things. Right now, my is a senior in college. But I believed those lies for a long time until I began to do that inner work. And writing for me became an expression. So I have to date 13 books. I'm a best-selling author. Thank God for that. Yeah, all with that. I started writing in 2013. So from 2013 to 2022, when I wrote my last book, that's 13 books, right? But they're not just words on pages. That's my life. There's a part of me, it's just like, how you think about music, like there's an era, we got the 80s era, we got the 90s era. Every book that I wrote, from The Power in Waiting to Journey to Finding Me to Write the Book Already, etc., they all embody different parts of who I am. And so I believe that, as far as even turning our content into cash or getting that confidence, is we got to deal with the shame behind our stories, right? I was listening to Niecy Nash the other day, and she said, let's focus on the good parts of our story. And so for me, that spoke to me, because I started out, I was so wrapped up in the pain. I don't have all these books because I'm smart, Michelle. I don't have all these books because I'm dope, and I am that, right? But I have all these books because I had to process that pain, that trauma, and I knew enough to say, okay, I'm not the only one going through this. I'm not the only one dealing with this. I'm not the only one who doesn't feel good enough, who doesn't feel seen, who doesn't feel heard. And so I begin to package that. Now, the second part of that, what was your second? Repeat that for me. How do we monetize it?
Yeah, we turning our content into cash. But you were segue into that real good, real
Okay,
good.
good.
This is
Okay, praise.
a
I just want to
master class.
I'm a church girl. I'm over here like, praise the Lord. And that's another thing too, is allow giving yourself permission to be you. Like, I don't like when Michelle was talking about the CEO summit. Like, even though it was virtual, I came in as myself. I was just me. Like, I'm energetic. I know, as an event host, I know about the vibes and how it's so much going on. So I'm like, let me just help. Let me just do this. She didn't ask me. She didn't know me, but that's just what we do. And that's another thing, a way that we can get out of that, find our place, find someone that you can serve, find someone that you can help. You know what I'm saying? Getting a coach, getting a mentor, or just helping other people. So as far as the monetization part, I always start with books, right? That's why I believe package your brilliance to bankroll your business by writing a book. And so whether that's so for example, like with Michelle, y'all know she's all thing marketing. If you want to learn how to take that Instagram honey to the next level, she all things AI. She could package all of that stuff into a book, right? Literally take all of these episodes that she have, because somebody somewhere hasn't heard it, right? And then guess what? Even those of us that has heard it, we would still read it. Come on. And so there's different learning styles. You have those of us that we can hear, those of us that we can see because we're more visual. So she could take all of these podcast episodes, get somebody or her team or herself or whoever, and package that into a book and break it down. And now her book will begin to go places that her feet may never tread. And that's the power of writing a book. So whether it's personal story, whether it's your area of expertise, finances, social media marketing. She got an event coming up with what's called mom boss. What'd you say?
Motherhood and money.
Motherhood and money, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's about being a mom and entrepreneur, whatever it is, you can package that. Then you can go from the book to then, okay, let me pull out something. I can repurpose. That's the word I'm looking for. So once you got the book right, then you can repurpose. What can you do one time that can create residual income for you multiple times, right? So from the podcast, even though it's free, but it takes time. We know we on Riverside. Shout out to Riverside. So she has to do certain things, sponsorship, whatever it is, invest. But you got to look at the bigger picture. So now I can take all of these podcasts, I can develop it into a book or a series or multiple books. I can turn my book into a VIP experience and event. I could turn my book into a VIP coaching program. I can use books are a modern day business cards. Ain't nobody caring about your business card today. People don't care about business cards, don't care about bios. We just like when you go shopping, you know how we go shopping, Michelle? We be like, okay, what are these shoes gonna do for me? Are they gonna? I know they look good on her, but are they gonna look good on me? So people are always wondering, what can you do for me? Right. And so that's where you can begin to repurpose that content. And again, my books have been places. I ain't never been to Africa. I want to go one day. I've been to Trinidad. I ain't been to like a lot of these places. When I'm looking at the analytics and all this stuff when my books are coming, I ain't been there, but my books have, and they know me over there and they purchase every one that I have. So that's how I would say. I know that's a long answer.
That was
But
good.
that, yeah.
No,
I
that
can go
was
on
good in the master class. So I hope everybody was taking notes. Make sure you
all
tag
of
me on
that.
Instagram at Michelle L. Thames and let me know what you thought about Carla's masterclass she just gave you on how to turn content into books. And you know what? I could turn the Social Media Decoded podcast into a whole book, like a whole with chapters, because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much stuff on this pod. I have 260 so I think I got 260 something episodes. That's a lot of episodes, and we coming up on the 3rd year anniversary. I don't know when this podcast will air, so I don't know, but July it will be June 14th will be 3 years. And so I got 3 years worth of content. I could just put this on up in a book.
Girl,
But I am writing a book. I'm writing a
look.
book though about something else. I mean, it's not really about something else. It's about my story, but
Yeah.
I could do that. So look at all the ways you can make money. Look at
But look,
this.
I
You
was
didn't gave
thinking
us a
about
whole masterclass.
while you was talking, I was thinking books, e-courses, guides. Like it's so many that you don't turn us on to standout store, girl. So, I'm loving that. I got mine. I got mine. So I didn't walk away
Look,
from the summit and not apply. I went through all them pages of notes that I had. It was like, okay, let me see. Well, let me. She talked about. We heard about stand this whole summit. Let me start with the standout store. Girl, I went up there. I was like, oh my god. Okay, Michelle is dope.
Stan is lit. See, Stan is lit. So y'all know what you can hit the link down below in the show notes to check out Stan. It's free for 14 days. Get on it. I've made $21,000 since August passively, not even trying real hard. Just imagine
Mhm.
when I go harder. I've created a whole plan now, y'all, too. So I'm planning to double and triple that $21,000 with some of these ideas Carla just gave here on this podcast, because you already know I do have AI courses. I'm working on an AI challenge. The challenge will probably be way before. Well, you'll hear it, but you can about a replay if you listen to this podcast. You can about a replay to that AI challenge I'm doing. But that was such a good explanation of just how we can turn our content into cash and like the different ways we can do so. Like I'm just so grateful for you sharing
Yeah.
that. And I know you
Thank
talked
you.
about the CEO Summit, shameless plug. Check down in the show notes. Get the replay of the CEO Summit at a discounted price because I'm telling you, the information is good. And I'm not just saying that because it was my summit. I'm saying that because it's legit a
I'm saying
really
that,
great
okay?
piece of content. Okay. Pieces of content. Because it's like 14 or so 20 videos. I don't even know. It's a lot of videos in there. It's a lot of
Look,
videos.
let me tell y'all something. I was there all 3 days. I'm on the East Coast, okay? I was there all 3 days. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it because I mean it. You get that CEO Summit replay, you don't need nothing else this year. You That'll take you all the way to November when you get ready to see Michelle at her event that she's gonna host in November. It'll take you all the way through because each speaker specialized in a particular area. And so whether it was mental health, whether it was marketing, whether it was branding, whether it was how to do what you call it, you just said you was working on one.
My
Girl,
challenge.
yeah, that the
Yeah.
challenge,
It
all of
was
that.
something for everything. Y'all
When
better get it.
listen,
Look.
it will carry you. I'm telling y'all, I was there. It will carry you through the rest of the year up until, and then you'll be ready for your second dose in November. I'm just telling you.
Whew. Okay. Okay, enough about the CEO Summit, but that was good though. Thank you for that masterclass and the shameless plug CEO Summit. So I want to talk about storytelling too because we kind of talked
Yeah.
about this and we kind of touched on this, but
Okay.
it's so important for us to share our stories
Mm-hmm.
on social media to turn the customers into clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so, how do you teach people to share their story authentically? Because it's like we want to show up, but they want to be somebody else. And so, we both know that being somebody else doesn't get us far. So, what are some tips that you give your clients on how we can continue to show up authentic, but without burning ourselves out either?
Yeah, I really remind them of this Gen Z era. Because I got a Gen Z in my house. And I'm like, baby, they will call you out because they can recognize a phony. And authenticity sells, right? And so we was just talking even before we went live about um, just enjoying the journey and redefining what success looks like. And for me, I know what it's like to wear a mask. My background is ministry. I'm a licensed and ordained minister who is married to a woman. So I wore a mask for a very, very long time. And that was a very painful part of my story. But you know what? I went through it. I went through the depression. I went through the suicide attempt. I went through all the anxiety, all of that. And I penned it and birthed another best-selling book. And you know why? Because people related to the story. Even if their story wasn't identical to mine, pain is pain. Trauma is trauma, and we all want the same things. We want to be loved, we want to be accepted, and we want to win, whatever that looks like. Like me and Michelle was saying, and she was like, "I don't care about the Bentley and the Rose." Now, I'm like, absolutely, that part is about internal success for me. You know what I'm saying? And so, with that, authenticity sells. Being your authentic self. Again, I said before, getting rid of that shame, getting rid of that guilt. And writing is a form of healing. It's therapeutic. Even if you're not even ready to write a book yet, start writing a blog or start journaling. Let's say you're not even ready to share. Journaling is a form of releasing, right? But then you got to remind yourself. Matter of fact, you got to ask yourself, why did you? I'm sure everybody's been through a place, regardless of their religious background or whatever, when if they didn't say why me, they was like, just why. Like, Lord, whether you put Lord, God, Buddha, whoever in there, he was questioning the universe, like, why is this happening to me? You know why? We all have trials, tribulations, and struggles because it wasn't about us from the beginning. It's all about who we're called to. And so our story makes us relevant. Our story is like when Michelle talks about her entrepreneurial journey in corporate America and being with the company and how she felt and da 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 da. Then we begin to resonate with that because I was in corporate America and I was like, these jokers, if I die today, they're gonna replace me tomorrow. You understand? And
Hello.
so your story is the connector to your community, but it is important not to push yourself out there prematurely if you're not ready. That's why connecting with the coach, whether it's myself or whoever, connecting with someone that's been through that. So as a publisher, I'm not just a book publisher and writing coach, but I'm also an author. So I'm on both sides, and that's what we specialize in, is teaching you how to strategically share your story. So I have clients that'll be like, well, how do I share this part, do I not share that part? And the answer to that, so how to know what to share, what not to share. Does it edify? Does it add value? Can you build points around it? How you feel? Well, we can't always go by how you feel, because I was shaking in my stilettos with the first book, right? But your motive, do a motive check. Am I trying to out somebody? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was physically abused by a parental figure. In my first book, when I shared that story, I wasn't trying to out this man, but I was trying to free my inner child. So we got to check the motive as well. So that would be my response.
Oh no, that was good, and another masterclass. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I definitely agree. I think that the more you share authentically in your story, you'll just find people who relate to you. So again, it's not about sharing too much. Like, you know how much you want to share, right? You know how much you don't want to share. So just keep it, I think, with what you feel is going to resonate with others, and really, like you said, create that change and make a difference. So this
Can
next part
I
of
add
the
something
podcast.
real? Can I add something real
Oh
quick, Michelle?
yes, yes,
So,
absolutely.
like, as a business coach, right? So I had a client not too long ago where she is a coach as well. She got certified through, because I also certify individuals to become life coaches. So she got certified, and she was doing, using all the marketing strategies, using all those things. But she came back, she's like, Coach, my stuff isn't converting. Like, I'm getting the likes, I'm getting the, and so when I went to look, and I told her, I said, they don't know you. People buy from who they know, like, and trust. It's not just about the title of your e-course. I mean, she couldn't even get people to sign up for something that was free. And I told her, I said, it's not about the money, because we had that conversation during coaching where she kept saying she didn't want to share. She just want to teach people how to do X, Y, and Z. And I said, well, before people will learn from you, they have to connect with you. You got to give them something. And she didn't want to give anything. I'm like, you a breast cancer survivor. You've been married 25 years. Like, girl, every story, and let me say this, every story don't have to be a pitiful and a sob story. You can have an amazing story of how your marriage has worked for 25 years, or how it doesn't have to be pain and trauma and abuse. Like, that was just what I experienced, right? So that's a misconception sometimes, because I've even had clients, Michelle, where they're like, well, I don't have pain. I don't have a painful story. I'm like, well, just tell me, and I'll listen to their life. And I'm like, ooh, that's a whole, like you say, that's a whole masterclass. I'm like, that's a whole book right there. That's a podcast. You can take that on. So I wanted to say that as well, is people buy, and this is, y'all know, we know this stuff already. People buy from who they know, like, and trust. So before you go out here and try to lead people, they gotta know that they can trust you to lead them properly. Yeah.
Amen. And that's the whole word right there. And I agree. I tell my clients the same thing. Like, how are we going to buy? How No one's going to buy if they don't like you or know you or trust you. So you can't just say, here's this thing I have, without you actually showcasing it. We're in a different world of the digital age. And so people really do want to know you. Yes, like Coca-Cola and Sprite and all these companies, Pepsi, they have been able to do that and not have a person like behind the brand, but we're far from that. There's many brands who people want to know who's that founder. So whether you're selling products or whether you're a coach or consultant, it's going to be the same thing. If people cannot relate to you, they're most likely not going to buy. There's a lot of scammers, as we all know, on social media. And so they
Mm-hmm.
want to know you. And if they can't even find you or know anything about you, I'm going to tell you right now, they're more likely not going to buy. So just share, just be open and honest. Don't share too much, and be authentic, and you're going to win. Just like
Yeah,
Carla
and I
said in
think
this
it
masterclass.
depends. I think it depends on what you're selling. Like you said, with Pepsi and anybody, I can go online. Like, I could have started out selling earrings. They don't care anything about me. They just care about the earrings. So it depends on what you're selling. When you get into mindset training, leadership, or you know what I'm saying, like coaching, things like that that require commitment, Like when we think of, I know when I think about the people that like I love Lisa Nichols. I think she's dope. But one of the things that made me love Lisa Nichols was her story, her food stamp story, where her and her son Giovanni, and how, you know, the whole journey. I love Steve Harvey as a motivational speaker. I don't know him as a man, but his story. Like think about Tyler Perry. Like these are just Oprah. These are just the, and when we talk about not having painful stories, even Michelle Obama with her book Becoming, she didn't have a painful story, but that book was powerful. You know what I'm saying? And the journey. So you got to look at too, like what you're selling. If you're an organization with products, services, something like that, then that may be different. Like Michelle said, the marketing strategy is going to be different. But if you're branding yourself and you're building that know, like, and trust factor, then you're going to have to put yourself out a little more. And let me say this, and not to be super spiritual, but I got to be who I am. I believe that this is the hour that it's the people that don't want to be in the front that God is bringing to the front. It's the ones that's so happy, Mike happy, and want to be all in the front when he like, get back there. You two, you ain't humble enough. Well, look him say, you ain't humble enough. I did just mention God and Lil Kim in the same sentence. Yep, I did. And so, so when you on the front, you know what I'm saying? You in the front line, you have to be very intentional. And it's not, and what I'm learning is so many introverts that are now called to be leaders, or been called to be leaders, but they would them said that it was your level of comfort that caused you to kind of play the background. But those are the people that God is like, nah, I want you up here. I want you in the front line like David. Let's go. And so I want to encourage you, those of you that are listening, like if you feel that tug, like this is the time. You don't have to have it all figured out. That's what Michelle and I are here for. We are here to be a guide to assist you on your journey, but with a little push to say, go ahead, girl. You can do it. That was a time I didn't believe in me. Oh, if we had time, honey, I would tell you my whole story, but we ain't got that much time. But just know you got this and keep on going.
Yes, no, I love it. You've given a whole masterclass, a sermon, everything. So thank you for all of that. And before we head out, I would love, this is the part of my podcast that I really love because we talk about books and I know you have some amazing books, but were there any books that helped you along your journey that you want to share with the listeners here today? We love Audible and we got Libby on our phone. So
Mhm.
tell us one or two books really quick that have helped you along your journey as an entrepreneur.
Now you're asking a reader. I am an avid reader. Got Kindle Unlimited.
I know, but we
Oh,
just got to share too.
I
Me too,
know,
girl. I got
I know.
60
And
books.
I'm the coach that I be like, oh, it's a book for that. It's a book for that. It's a book. Let me book. Okay. Hmm. Just off the top of my head, without digging too deep, if I just two books that just come to my mind that were very, very powerful and transformative for my life. Number one is Never Give Up by Joyce Meyer. That book was very, very powerful at a point in my life when I was done, didn't think God could use me, didn't think I had a voice, a purpose, nothing. So that book. Second book that really transformed my mindset was Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. That's a powerful, powerful book.
I just put that in my. I just got that on
Oh,
Audible, girl.
girl, I read that book. Was it 2014? When I say it was powerful, and I still reteach. I teach from his methodologies. Very, very powerful. And if I could add a third one, just one more, it would be
Yes,
the Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. That's foundational. Before you get into your marketing, your branding, and da 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 da, you got to know why you were born and what you were created to do. So I would say Never Give Up by Joyce Meyer. Yeah, it's a spiritual read. I get it. Then you got, but we need that regardless, you know, whatever.
Joyce Meyer is a great author. I got
I
many of
like
her
Joyce because
books.
she's practical. It's the
She
practical
is practical,
part. So
definitely.
you got Never Give Up by Joyce Meyer. You got Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. And then you have The Purpose Driven Life. Now you got to get the brown cover one because I know he changed it to the white cover. I don't know about the content. I don't know if it's shifted, but that original content, them 40 chapters, 40 days with Rick Warren, that one is powerful.
Yes, no, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing those amazing books. This has been a jam-packed episode, y'all. Y'all got to go back and re-listen and take some notes because it's a masterclass. Several up in here and some gems were dropped. But before we head out, and thank you again so much for coming on the show. Where can the listeners find you and keep up with you and all the amazing things that you have going on in your business?
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. My website is carlacannon.com. And then also, I am at Carla R Cannon-Lawrence on all social media outlets. Very simple.
Awesome. Yes, very simple. And we will make sure to put all of that down in the show notes for
Thank you.
everyone. And thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of the Social Media Decoded podcast. And we will talk to you all in the next one.